Hello, my name is Theresa Camp. I'm at the University of West Alabama, SE 504, Dr. Dunbar, and this is my signature Project 2 presentation. My project was on the effects of whole brain teaching, the super improver wall, to incentivize special education students to stay on task during a 30-minute pull-out session. The main theories represented in this subject are B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning, basically that's positive reinforcement. The whole super improver wall idea is built on the use of positive reinforcement. They earn stars and move up levels. Positive consequences of a desired behavior, that increases the odds of a repeat behavior. So we want to reinforce that. Also, Bandura's self-efficacy theory. Students build a belief in their own capabilities, and every student, regardless of their ability, can improve their personal best and achieve success. It creates a sense of accomplishment. That's how we want our students to feel, no matter what they are capable of. Dweck's growth mindset. We see those posters all over the place. Growth mindset is really big, and it's a system that rewards effort and improvement and teaches students that abilities that they develop through hard work and that growth is attainable. The harder they work, the better they're going to get at something, and that hard work is going to pay off through growth. The identified problem was basically the fact that students don't have that motivation that they normally would have inside themselves. They don't feel like they're capable and they just give up. So, using the whole brain teaching method, super improvable, is meant to improve behavior and engagement outcomes for elementary special education students during a 30-minute pull-out resource class. I keep stressing the 30-minute resource class because that's what I have for my third and fourth grade special education students. I've noticed that their academic performance has declined and their engagement has declined because they really don't feel that sense of urgency. And there's so many other things in their lives right now that are taking precedence. They're worried about where they're going to sleep sometimes. They're going to have a meal when they get home. They, those things are what are building up in them. So it's hard to keep them motivated just to do that assignment, just to stay on task or follow directions. They need that confidence and motivation just to participate. So anything to amp that up, to give them that feeling of self-worth and confidence, it's huge. This is also meant to decrease shout outs and interruptions during instruction because instruction time is being lost when we're having to constantly get them to get back on task or finish assignments and everything rolls over into another session because they didn't get it finished. Those things are wasting instruction time. Also, there's a need for students to understand that they can motivate themselves. There are other ways to be positive and have motivation within themselves. And positive reinforcement is necessary to get them to understand that. My project data was done over a 2-week period. I spent 1 week tallying all of the interruptions, the lack of engagement, the getting off task and not finishing their work. That was tallied through all of my classes during my 30-minute resource time for a week. Then I introduced the super improver wall. Those days were then also tallied for off task behavior, lack of engagement, uh, disrupting class, not finishing their assignments. And what I saw was great. It was amazing because within the first day of them realizing, hey, I can earn something, even though it might just be a star on the chart. I have something to work towards. I have a goal now. And they feel good about that. And they're not competing against their classmates, they're competing with themselves. And it it amazed me. The action plan. Basically, I identified the population in need, which was my class. There are, then I planned the research. I did the research. There's not a lot of research done on the whole brain teaching super improver wall method. It was difficult to find, but there was research done. And I really hoped that my research would show what other research has shown, which is that intrinsic motivation does grow and it can help improve behavior in the classroom. I logged on task and off task behaviors for 30-minute sessions without the whole brain teaching super improver wall. And then the next week, I did the same thing with the whole brain teaching super improver wall. Compiled all that data using those 30-minute sessions of off task behavior and disruptive behavior. I used that data to not only motivate myself to continue, but to motivate the students. They saw improvements. I shared with them the improvements of earning stars. They're in charge of their motivation. And the key terms: whole brain teaching, super improver wall, ADHD, because almost all of my students have ADHD, which is a huge thing for staying engaged, and intrinsic reinforcement. That's the basis of the entire whole brain teaching super improver wall method. Sample population. Basically, that was my 17 third and fourth grade special education students. All of my students involved have current IEPs and have been diagnosed with one or more of the following: autism, specific learning disabilities or SLD, intellectual disabilities, other health impairments, and visual disabilities. To describe the data compilation process, that would basically be me taking data, logging every event of disruptive or off task behavior during the 30-minute pullout sessions, before the super improver wall was implemented, and then after the super improver wall was implemented. That wall is implemented to incentivize positive behavior and was used during my morning lessons, not my afternoon lessons. I'd see the same kids for 30 minutes in the morning and then 30 minutes in the afternoon, and they're broken up between third grade and fourth grade. The teacher implements super improver wall strategies, logging every event of disruptive or off task behavior, and then use the data to determine where the latency is and when using the super improver wall strategies during the morning lessons was paying off. Confidentiality and rights protection. Students participating will not be named or identified in any way individually other than by grade level. Due to IEP regulations, all personal and identifiable data is private. Students are part of the SPED teacher caseload determined by the district at the beginning of the 25-26 school year. That SPED teacher is myself. It is my caseload. I had no control over it. Those are the students that were designated to me. And there is no need for parental permission for the study because IEPs do allow for teacher accommodations. This is a way of accommodating for behavior and engagement. The project did not need IRB approval. Internal validity. Super improver wall, the whole basis is for internal validity. It is supported by observations of improved focus, levels of engagement, and through anecdotal notes, which there were many. Um, it also focuses on individual improvements by leveling up and positive reinforcement for that improvement. Basically, no matter what happens, if a student improves in something, then they're earning a star. Then the next step is for them to do even better, level up with their goals. And the data and anecdotal notes showed improved student confidence and decreased discipline problems, which I was very happy for. And the students of this study had a variety of discipline problems, nothing serious, but it did cause disruption during class. External validity. There was not a lot of external validity other than the behavior that they had in class. They were staying more engaged. They were completing their tasks. So the completion of tasks showed the external validity, but there weren't a whole lot of um, test scores to show. Some of my students who do take tests with me, they did show more engagement during the tests, and their grades did go up some. So this research study proved higher task completion rates and higher scores on teacher-made tests for the students during this study. The results. The results of this study it showed much of what I expected and when identifying the problem. Students want accolades. They want to know that they're doing the right thing. Whether it's stars, stickers, positive words, candy, it doesn't matter. They just want to know they're doing something good. So they don't usually expect something just for staying on task, but completing assignments, staying in their seat, those are general rules they need to follow. Them earning something for that was exciting for them. Once the students were introduced to the super improver wall and the expectations and reward system was explained, they were excited and ready to go. After the first student received their first star on the wall for improving their time on task, everyone took notice, cheered them on, got excited. They were all ready to go. So they began working towards their own goals, whatever they might have been, even if it was completing something within a 3-minute session. If they did it, they got rewarded. It became a game to beat their own goals, not a race against others. An average, actually, this really impressed me, an average of 6 minutes per 30-minute session was recovered from lost instruction time due to behavior, off-task corrections, meltdowns, and refusal to work. This was actually better than I expected. Due to increased instruction time, students were more engaged. It was noticed that some test scores even improved. Reflection. After reviewing all my research, data, and the paper, I look back and I noticed quite a few things I would definitely do different. I would extend the study much longer than 2 weeks to acquire more data and to be used for further study. Use a larger sampling of students, not just those from my caseload. I would get with other sped classes, the other teachers, and even possibly some general education classes as well. Doing that really might have given me a wider spectrum to compare and ensure more reliable outcomes. I would create a more precise way to collect data rather than just tally marks and a timer. This method was sufficient for small sampling and that was used. However, it was tedious and often unorganized. And even with those things that need changing, there are still positives to the study. The immediate change of student engagement and behavior was unexpected. Super happy about that. Students can motivate each other, but witnessing the intrinsic motivation was so rewarding. And the true excitement in learning, they still have true excitement in learning. So I still, even now, use a super improver wall even though the study is over. And these are my references. Thank you for listening.